Hi, I'm Kara, and I'm doing my book talk on The Book Thief, which was written by Marcus Zusak, and it was published in 2005. I'd received this book for a gift for Christmas, and I hadn't had the chance to read it until now, and I'm so glad that I read it. It's an excellent book. For the plot, our narrator is Death, and he follows around a young girl named Liesel Meminger. Liesel grows up in Nazi Germany during World War II. And when we first meet her, she's on a journey on a train and she's going to arrive at her foster parents. Her mother is bringing her, and her young brother is coming along as well. And unfortunately, her brother, he dies during the trip and he has to be buried. So after his burial, she decides to steal her first book, The Gravedigger's Handbook. And this is just the first of many books to come in Liesel's book thievery, but it has a significance to it. And Death kind of opens the story with this little glimpse of this book thief, Liesel, and he continues to tell her story as well as the story of the other important main characters. The other characters that the story focuses on besides Liesel, who is definitely the central focus, we see Rosa Huberman, which is Liesel's often berating and somewhat seemingly cruel foster mother, but deep down she's very caring and loving, and she loves Liesel so much. And then Liesel's foster father, Hans Huberman, also known as Papa, and he teaches Liesel how to read, and that holds such importance to her as well. Rudy Steiner is Liesel's best friend, the young boy who's always begging for a kiss from her, but she never quite gives in. And then there's Max Vandenberg. And Max Vandenberg doesn't come in till later, but he's a Jewish man who temporarily lives in the Huberman's basement. He is connected to the Huberman family through past circumstances, and he becomes quite the friend to Liesel during his short time in their basement. The plot is very intense. There's a lot of subplot. There's a lot of going back and forth between stories. We see glimpses of war and devastation. We see glimpses of the future of what is to come of our characters to almost emotionally prepare us, even though you can't quite be emotionally prepared for how intense parts of this book become. Also, throughout the book, all these little snippets and everything that you get, they all tie back together so beautifully to our main character, Liesel, and her being the book thief. With her being the book thief, she steals a couple of books from a pile of burning books that the Nazis had burned. And then she also steals some books from the mayor's wife's library, Ilse Herman, and she steals a couple books from there, but only one at a time, so as not to be greedy or anything like that, but to not give too much of the plot away, because ultimately I hope you choose to read this book by yourself. It's a book really about love and friendship, and it's a book about desperation and hope and pain and suffering and so many things, and it's beautifully written. The passage that I want to read today is from the chapter called Ilse Herman's Little Black Book. And Liesel is upset after watching this parade of Jewish men and women who are parading basically to their deaths or their torture at the concentration camp. And she'd seen a couple of these before, but this one is just devastating because she sees Max. And she cries out to him, and ultimately it just leaves her so distraught, and she wants to find comfort. So what else would a book thief find comfort in but in books, in words? So she goes to try to find comfort in the words, and this is the passage that I am going to read for you. Okay. The window. Hands on the frame, scissor of the legs. Landing feet, books and pages and a happy place. She slid a book from the shelf and sat with it on the floor. Is she home? she wondered, but she did not care if Ilse Hermann was slicing potatoes in the kitchen, or lining up in the post office, or standing ghost-like over the top of her examining what the girl was reading. The girl simply didn't care anymore. For a long time she sat and saw. She had seen her brother die with one eye open, one still in a dream. She had said goodbye to her mother and imagined her lonely wait for the train back home to oblivion. A woman of wire had laid herself down, her scream traveling the street till it fell sideways like a rolling coin starved of momentum. A young boy was hung by a rope made of Stalingrad snow. She had watched a bomber pilot die in a metal case. She had seen a Jewish man who had twice given her the most beautiful pages of her life march to a concentration camp. And at the center of all of it, she saw the Führer shouting his words and passing them around. Those images were the world, and it stewed in her as she sat with the lovely books and their manicured tiles. It brewed in her as she eyed the pages full to the brims of their bellies with paragraphs and words. You bastards, she thought. You lovely bastards. Don't make me happy. Please don't fill me up and let me think that something good can come of any of this. Look at my bruises. Look at this graze. Do you see the graze inside me? Do you see it growing before your very eyes, eroding me? I don't want to hope for anything anymore. I don't want to pray that Max is alive and safe, or Alex Steiner, because the world does not deserve them. She tore a page from the book and ripped it in half, then a chapter. Soon there was nothing but scraps of words littered between her legs and all around her. The words, why did they have to exist? Without them there wouldn't be any of this. Without words the Führer was nothing. There would be no limping prisoners, no need for consolation or wordy tricks to make us feel better. What good were the words? She said it audibly now to the orange-lit room. What good are the words? I really like this passage because it really speaks to one of the most relevant themes within this book, the idea of words and the power of words and the beauty of words. And words just show up with such importance for the book thief, and it just really ties the story together. And to me, it just really illustrates how powerful words are. Hitler used words to manipulate a whole country. Writers use words in brilliant and devastating ways. Liesl found comfort in words, yet words had let her down. Sometimes they weren't enough, and they devastated her as well. In my opinion, words can save you, but they can also destroy you, and it's up to you to kind of choose what to do with the words that you have. As for recommendation, I would highly recommend this book to read, and I have 3 reasons that I'll go through really quickly. Number 1, the writing is absolutely phenomenal. It's beautiful. Zusak is a phenomenal writer. He has a way with words that left chills down my spines. I've always been a lover of words, and if I can find a couple sentences that just are so well written, I'll reread it over and over again just because I like the way the words sound together. And I found myself doing this quite a few times throughout the book. Number 2, it's emotionally captivating. At the end, I'm not going to lie, I was crying. But there was many times throughout the book where I was laughing and just enjoying the adventure and enjoying the read. The characters are captivating and they just draw you in. And it's just so emotionally draining at times, but so emotionally rewarding as well. And then number 3, it really makes history come alive. It was interesting to see a different perspective on Nazi Germany from a German perspective of people who maybe don't want to follow Hitler but are stuck in this country. I would definitely see this book as a valuable book in a history classroom or an English classroom or in a cross-curricular type of setting. But overall, I highly recommend The Book Thief. If you have a chance, go out, buy it, read it. It's a great read, and I don't think that you'll regret it. Bye.